What's up? On our 26 here, giving my reviews of the WXW American shows back in April. For those of you who don't know, WXW is a company that usually runs shows in Germany, or in Europe for that matter, more specifically. And their style is a little bit different than most American companies, but they use a lot of the same wrestlers, and their look is a little bit different based on how they present themselves. They have one champion, Daisuke Sekimoto, who defended his title against Chris Hero on the Philly show, and then teamed with Johnny Moss to take on the Briscoes on the Union City show, which they combined the junior heavyweight and heavyweight titles into one title, make him a unified champion, which I really, really like that idea. So let's just hop right into it. The Philly show, which is the better of the two shows, took place in the ECW Arena April 9th. Such a great show because it took a lot of great American talent and then combined it with their talent, and then used the Big Japan talent. Everything was just awesome. Such a fun show to sit through. I definitely recommend everyone picking up these DVDs, or definitely this DVD. You can get it at smartmarkvideo.com. It's like $15 or $20, one of the two. Probably. I'm trying to think of whether it's 15 or 20. I think it's 15. Don't quote me on that, but the extra $5 is definitely worth it. The opener of this show, we got Emil Sitoci versus Brandon Gatson making his East Coast debut. First time I'd ever not seen him in PWG, which was kind of weird, but we'll get to that later. Versus Johnny Gargano versus Chuck Taylor, and it was kind of weird seeing them against each other. And it was a very interesting match. A little bit spotty, a basic opener. It was just these four guys going out there and doing their spots. Gatson did his dives. Gargano was his unorthodox self. Chuck Taylor was his cocky self, and then Emil Sitoci, who, and I got to give up to the Philly fans, they knew who a lot of these guys were. Who hadn't come to America before, just were primarily WXW guys. Gargano, Taylor are premier East Coast talents, and then Gatson is PWG, and then Sitoci, is a European talent. So I give it up to the Philly crowd. I'm not going to give it to the Union City crowd, but we'll get to that in a minute. This is a very fun match, very good opener, 3 stars. Then we get to Sami Callihan versus Bad Bones. Bad Bones is just a big power guy. He can do a lot of things. Very similar to Sami Callihan. Both of them hit very hard. And actually, Sami Callihan, and I know for most of you who actually are into WXW, he won the Gold Carrot tournament earlier in the year, which I still need to see those shows, but I know he won. So basically they had Bad Bones who wanted to prove himself against Sami Callihan, and that was the story going into this match. Very good, very hard-hitting, very fun. Just Sami Callihan, he gets a lot of criticism or used to at least, from a lot of us on YouTube and just random people from his RH appearances were bad. But, I've completely forgotten about that now that I've seen how he worked on these two shows, as long as other shows that I've seen. He's perfectly fine, and, I think he's a very good wrestler. And, he definitely has a good look to him, and I like that. And then next we got a tag team match with 4 guys which feature just straight power. Johnny Moss and Michael Elgin versus Bing Van Valter and Brodie Lee. Man, did Michael Elgin look impressive here. If you watch this match and see some of the stuff that Michael Elgin can do, just holy crap. This guy is probably my favorite wrestler that I've just seen primarily this year. Oh my lord, he is amazing. He did some stuff in this match that blew my mind. People talk about wrestling like a big guy. I thought he was a foot taller in this match and 100 pounds heavier. God damn. But also, Big Van Valter and Johnny Moss were both very impressive. Brodie Lee was as well. But just Michael Elgin took over this match. It was very fun, very good. He almost made it great. It was just a sight to see from him in this match. 3.5 stars. Then we got to the worst match of the weekend. No, his Karsten Beck's other match was the worst match of the weekend, but that was not his fault. This one kind of was, versus the Necro Butcher. I was wondering how these two styles would work. Karsten Beck is one and a half of the tag champs for WXW at the time, and he's an okay heel. I mean, he didn't get over with the American crowd at all. And then Necro Butcher, who was a staple in South Philly for CZW for so many years, and then has also worked there a lot. So, and this match didn't go very long, and they had such different styles. It didn't work very well. But it didn't go long, and it was a little bit of comedy. So I like that. 1.5 stars. Then we get to the part of the card that absolutely picked up. First, Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly, who kind of played heels, which I kind of liked, versus Zack Sabre Jr. and Marty Scurll. I've not seen their other two matches yet, because apparently they've had two very clean matches, especially the one that happened at the Gold Carrot Tournament Night 3. I haven't seen it yet. However, if this is any taste of what that match is, this match was absolutely amazing. It was insane. I mean, the stuff that these two were doing to each other, these two teams, was just amazing. You know, you can compare a lot of these wrestlers to each other. You know, Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly in the U.S. are much like the Zack Sabre Jr. and Marty Scurll of, you know, WXW, and it was just a great, great match to see. You know, just such great offense. You know, this match got a lot of time. You know, just it was not boring from one second. It ended in the right facet at the climax. You know, just everything you want in two upcoming teams fighting each other. This match was such a great match. However, it falls just short of my match of the year candidates. You know, I don't. It just doesn't rank up with the match of the year candidate. However, it is just a sight to be seen. Can't recommend it enough. It is. I'm gonna give it a strong 4 1/4. Just like a hair short of match of the year candidate level for me, because I hold those matches very, very high. This was a tiny bit short of that, but it still blows your mind. And then we get to the next match, which actually I think I'm going to be ranking 6th on my match of the year, 6th or 7th. My channel will be updated with this match, and then another match which I'm doing in a video later, hopefully this week. We have Daisuke Sekimoto versus Chris Hero. Now, this was a dream match of mine since I started watching Big Japan. I was like, guys that I wanted to see Sekimoto in there with. At the top of my list were Claudio and Hero, and then Takashi Sugera. Just based off the style that he wrestles and just how he adjusts to certain things and just how he could use his offense on them, and as well as the other person, you know, how they could work. And among those three, probably Hero is my number one choice because just Hero can do it all, and then Sekimoto has that same thing about him in Japan when he wrestles for 0-1 or Big Japan, or WXW for that matter. And then, so this match was just an absolute war. This match was at first methodical and built very well, and it just ramped up and ramped up and ramped up. And you know, it was a lot of great psychology in this match. I mean, this match just wasn't overly spotty, and you know, it was just amazing. You know, these two guys just went out there, used their offense on each other, you know, see what would work. You know, it was just a game of human chess that turned out to be an absolute war. You know, a very, very stiff match with no weapons, and it was just awesome. 4.5 stars, exactly why I love Sekimoto and Hero. Pick up this DVD if for nothing else, this match, you know, but there's a ton of other stuff on the show you should see. At least there's 4 very good matches and up, and then 2 other good matches, and then, I mean, this DVD, you definitely should pick it up. And then we still have the main event to go of a no-ropes barbed wire match. Jun Kasai versus Drake Younger. Very, 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 you know, this is the Jun Kasai style of match. You know, he being insane, diving, you know, just being an all-around, you know, his death match is his MO. However, he can bring it in several other facets of pro wrestling, and, you know, he showed it here. You know, he can mat wrestle, you know, he can brawl, you know, he can do a lot, and he showed it here against Drake Younger, who in the same right, you know, made his name as a deathmatch wrestler in CZW and in IWA Mid-South and other companies, but he can do a lot as well. He's a very impressive, just regular wrestler, and so they're very comparable to each other. Put them in a match together here, and, you know, you got some very, very great stuff here, you know. This is probably the first barbed wire match I've ever seen Drake Younger, and even though I know he's had others that I should see, but I haven't. And then I've seen Jun Kasai, and I believe one before, if not 0, but I should see more. Because I always need to watch more Big Japan. That's one thing that I pride myself that I should do every year, that I need to watch more Big Japan for, you know, stuff like that. But it was still a very, very good match. Actually, a great match, I'll say that. You know, great ending, you know. You know, I really like stuff like this because it shows that, you know, you can have deathmatch wrestling that isn't just, you know, bloody and gory and it was bloody and gory in some respects, but, you know, it can be fun too. It doesn't have to be just straight weaponry and stuff like that. And that's what I really liked about this match. Overall, awesome show. Definitely pick it up. 8.75 out of 10. Can't say enough about it. All right, next we get the WXW Union City show, which on both of these nights, WXW and CZW had doubleheaders. The first night, WXW went in the afternoon, and then CZW had Best of the Best, which I will be reviewing later this week with Manhattan Mayhem 4, which is the video I was talking about, on the Saturday. And then on the Sunday, CZW went first with International Incident. I heard that show sucked, so I never saw it. And then, except for Kasai and Butcher, which I thought was just an okay brawl, but outside of that, I heard it sucked. And then WXW had their Union City show. Both these shows are called Kreuzzug ZXI, which I believe is 2011 in Roman numerals. All right, we had and this show was very, very good. However, one complaint I have, and that would have made it a lot better, this crowd sucked terribly. I'm sorry, I don't know whether they were mic'd weird, but I didn't, because maybe there was a little bit of the crowd. Maybe they just didn't know who these guys were. I don't know. But if you're not going to be very active during a lot of these matches, it's going to take it away. You know, this is what problems I have with some early PWG stuff. The crowd just wasn't into it. This crowd just wasn't into it. It was great wrestling too. You know, outside of a couple matches, and then they weren't into it. It seemed. Opener of Marty Scurll versus Kyle O'Reilly. Lots of great action here. You know, these two obviously have chemistry from the night before. They used that here, played it off a little bit, saying how, you know, these are the two partners that, you know, are in this tag team feud between O'Reilly and Cole and Sabre Jr. and Scurll. But they're the two that aren't like the less heated ones, because Cole and Sabre Jr. are complete rivals and hate each other. So they wanted to see how they played it off here, and it worked fine. Good match, good finish, 3 stars. Then we get to the worst match of the weekend. However, this match is not Karsten Beck's fault. I'm not a big fan of Karsten Beck. However, he did not ruin this match. Neither did Chris Dickinson. It's just, you know, it looked like a complete accident. Chris Dickinson hurt his leg, and they had to end the match right there. You know, it was actually going to be an okay match if it just didn't end like that very solemnly, you know. So, 1.5 stars. Can't say much else about it. Then we got to a tag team match: Big Van Valter and Drake Younger versus the Necro Butcher and Bad Bones. For those of you that don't know, Necro Butcher took a nasty, nasty bump. I don't want to say exactly what it was on the CW show the day before, so he was mad over, just completely mad over with this crowd for coming back out and doing another match, teaming with Bad Bones. And then for these guys, you know, it was a little weird to see the chemistry between some of them, because they wrestle a little bit of different styles. Necro's a brawler, so is Bad Bones. He strikes hard. Big Van Valter is just a huge guy, like legit, like he makes some linebackers look like regular people. Like, he's huge. And then Drake Younger, who wrestles basically everything, you know. So it was interesting to see some of these people against each other, especially Younger and Butcher, because I've seen some of their stuff together before, and I wanted to see it again. Still a pretty good match. I liked the ending a lot, so that bumped up the rating a little bit, 2.75 stars. Then we got to the second best match of the night: Jun Kasai versus Sami Callihan. Very, very cool. Just, you know, Callihan, who is one of the most over people in CZW, and then as well won the WXW Gold Carrot tournament. You know, and Kasai wanted a little bit to take his spot, so Kasai kind of played the heel here, even though he had been face on the other shows during the weekend. So that was very cool to see. And then the ending I didn't like, only because it's Jun Kasai. But they played it off very well and made Sami look strong, even though I just gave away who won. I don't care. But, you know, there could have been other ways to do it. Just my opinion. But, I mean, I see why they did it. So, 3.5 stars, very good match. Then we got Emil Sitoci versus Adam Cole. Another good match. You know, the match would have been helped very much by a live crowd. And they tried to play to the crowd, and it just didn't seem to work for whatever reason. So, still a good match. Adam Cole went 6-0 during the entire weekend. Like, I'm trying to think out. He went 6-0, I think, during the entire weekend, which made him look very strong. So, great job to Adam Cole, 3.25 stars. Then we got to the semi-main event of Chris Hero versus Zack Sabre Jr. Very, very good match. Lots of brutal stuff. You know, these two, I'd like to see a long match between these two, because, you know, in some facets, this felt like an Evolve show. Just like short, sweet matches, and that's all they are, with the exception of Callihan and Kasai, because that match went kind of long, and then the main event, which went semi-long. So, But outside of that, it's just had a very good feel to it. I loved these two together. I wish we could see a longer match, but if this is what they can give us for like 10 minutes, won't fine with me. 3.5. It might have been a little longer than 10 minutes, but it kind of felt that short. So then we get to the main event of Daisuke Sekimoto and Johnny Moss versus the Briscoe brothers. I expected a little bit more out of this match, honestly. I mean, I know that the Briscoe brothers, when taking on two people with very different styles, it is a little tough to be in a tag team match when you do that. But I thought they did very well. I'd always want to see Sekimoto in there with the Ring of Honor guys, and then the Briscoes are the top Ring of Honor tag team of all time. So, you get to see that here. I think they held their own. A lot of the good offense they had. They were playing tweeners a lot of the night. They came out as faces, but then acted heels in the match once they got in there with Sekimoto and Johnny Moss. Still a very good match. Definitely the match of the night. And I can't say much more than that. Just a very good show. Very good overall. Just feel to it. Even though the crowd should have been better. 7.5. You can pick this up as well. I enjoyed the show. So thanks for watching. Bye.